We begin with the government shutdown as it now enters day 3. All eyes on Capitol Hill for any positive developments. You're looking live at Capitol Hill this morning. We're also watching the White House for the potential announcement of thousands of federal layoffs that the administration has hinted at since the shutdown began. Scripps News congressional correspondent Nathaniel Reed joins me live now from Capitol Hill. All right, Nate, the strategy for Republicans has been, let's just put the same bill on the floor every day to see if Democrats are going to vote for it. Is that going to be the same strategy today?
Yeah, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the saying is fourth time's a charm. Actually, no one says that. They're going to put that bill on the floor for the fourth time. It's not expected to pass. Again, Democrats are in their corner. Republicans are in theirs. Both sides are dug in. Democrats saying they will settle for nothing less than a permanent extension of those Affordable Care Act tax credits, which expire at the end of this year. If they do expire, it could cause your premiums, if you get your insurance through your state's marketplace or exchange, to go up by a whopping 114%, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation on average. The Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimating that millions of Americans could lose their health insurance if those subsidies expire. Democrats, though, maintaining they will settle for nothing less. Here's the House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
If Schumer wants to shut down the government, that's going to be on him. It'll be another Schumer shutdown. So he's got a decision to make, but he's not holding many cards.
So let's make a deal.
Well, that was obviously the wrong soundbite there, Joe, but Democrats have largely been holding up that demand. Republicans effectively saying, get lost, to Democrats. House Speaker Mike Johnson saying there's nothing to negotiate on and insisting that Democrats go along with that short-term government funding extension, which they say has no poison pills in it. Democrats should be willing to accept it, but Democrats saying the time is now to address the Affordable Care Act and to extend those subsidies permanently. Again, Americans have had those since 2021. Without them, you could be looking at some serious sticker shock when it comes time for open enrollment, Joe.
Let's talk about, Nate, if we can, what may be the story of the day, and that's not at your end of Pennsylvania Avenue, but at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. The Trump administration keeps teasing these layoffs, potentially in the thousands of federal workers. Are members of Congress worried about that? Well, I imagine that's just going to change the dynamic of this shutdown altogether.
Yeah, what's interesting is, you know, the states with the highest proportion of federal workers, Maryland, for example, I asked a number of Maryland senators earlier this week if they're concerned about the possibility of these layoffs. They tell me that they think this is a negotiating tactic on behalf of the White House. Senator Angela Alsobrooks telling me flat out that she views this as effectively a threat from the Trump administration. Senator Chris Van Hollen calling this kind of a mafioso demand on the part of President Trump. But look, the Trump administration has not been shying away from canceling or putting funding on hold, using this shutdown to try and exert maximum pressure, maximum pain on Democrats. A lot of questions about what agencies or services they could target. The Democrats saying that this would be illegal like all of the other cuts that Republicans have made to congressionally authorized programs. But again, the Trump administration saying that they will do this. Not clear what Democrats can do to stop them other than attempting to sue. But look, this is a reality, Republicans say, during a shutdown that they just cannot deal with. Democrats largely saying, you know, bring it on.
And Nate, I'm curious, is there this sense of anger being felt? Are phones ringing off the hook in congressional offices? I mean, to get members of Congress to move in a certain direction, they need to feel pressure. Are people across the country feeling this pressure? I know you've been talking with a number of our Scripps News stations across the country. Or is life just carrying on? I mean, I haven't seen large-scale protests outside the Capitol, at least not yet, because of this shutdown.
Yeah, what's interesting here is that there was a little bit of polling about this from the Washington Post. They conducted a 1,000-person tech survey. largely Democrats are viewed as kind of the righteous party in this. About 30% of Americans blame them for a shutdown. 47% or so of Americans blaming Republicans, in fact, for this government shutdown. You know, the Democratic base really wanted them to fight tooth and nail last time around. When they didn't, when Democrats largely caved, voting in favor of a government funding plan, the Democratic base was extremely angry and upset with the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for refusing to have that fight. So again, there's a lot of questions about what the right path is out of this, how that is going to happen. Look, we do not know if this government shutdown will end anytime soon, but Democrats appear to have at least some cover from their base to keep it going for now as they look to push on these Affordable Care Act subsidies. Another argument that can be made here, Joe, and I know you love playing devil's advocate as much as I do, but there's a chance that if these Affordable Care Act subsidies are not continued, if the price for health care goes up precipitously for a whole lot of Americans, that could be just another thing to boost Democrats in the polls in the 2026 midterm elections when they're looking to make health care a huge issue for Americans. So if your health care looks bad, if insurance prices have gone up precipitously, that just maybe could be a reason to vote for Democrats. Look, the party out of power typically does well in the midterm elections, and Democrats are hoping that the usual pattern that midterms follow will be no exception next year. They're looking to retake control of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Health care could be a major key to that happening.
And as you know, the old expression, a lot easier to start a shutdown, a lot harder to come out of a shutdown. Both sides are going to want to come out of this politically with the win here. A lot harder to keep the shutdown going, though, when you're starting to talk next week, maybe 2 weeks, about WIC expiring, federal workers not getting paid, the true impacts.
The longer it goes on, the more
Americans.
painful it is, Joe.
Alrighty. Congressional correspondent Nathaniel Reed inside the Capitol for us this morning. Nate, thank you.